another week in the For Your Reference household, and it is another chapter in the Night of Kisses, OT. We covered the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, friends and lovers. It was actually our 9th episode of the podcast.
Oh, wow.
And my Daenerys takes are ever so muy caliente. Friends and lovers, if you can be so kind and loving to the audio of whatever the fuck it sounded like in our 9th episode, feel free to go and check it out. There was definitely a lot of thoughts, and I do feel vindicated in my Targaryen takes. We also did a bonus episode with Nerds Friends as well, but we're gonna get nasty and our familiars are still on our ass. So let's get on with the show. Friends and pink dread lovers, welcome back to the For Your Reference podcast. You got your host, Katie.
Dottie.
Unsheath your silver-tongued dagger and prepare to ascend the throne at all cost with familial lovin as the mandatory side quest. Get in, loser. We're going scab-picking with House of Dragons this week.
Wow.
Ooh.
What a show.
Yeah, how's your Valerian lineage going?
Strong as.
Big man OTC snake, am I right? Let's get into general stats and information. And for the fangirls and the fanboys, I am going to make a gentle reference to the Negroni. And you will know exactly what that means if you are a lover of memes and the internet. Speaking of lover of all popular culture, this show is obviously in the vein of Game of Thrones, and don't worry, OT, I will get your final thoughts on the last season of Game of Thrones, based on Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin, who is also the creator of this show. I guess he can also contend with Don Mancini in regards to following along with the lore and making sure the show is what it should be. Keep the nieces away, am I right? Also credited as a creator, we have Ryan Condal. This show, which we can also talk about as a separate theme, but it goes throughout the ages. So there is a lot of cast. So I'll just rattle off a couple. We have Paddy Considine, Matt Smith, Emma Darcy, the Negroni of it all, Rhys Ifans, Steve Toussaint, and Eve Best.
Nice.
Also Olivia Cook. We always say we're going to do Bates Motel, and we still haven't got into it. And I'm glad she's got full lung capacity, because every time
you see her rolling it down.
Well, it makes sense that she got the scab daddy.
Oh, true that. Oh, she cannot escape these people, can she?
What do you mean by you people? Don't worry, we're getting into race baiting. That's going to come along very well. But spoiler. Cloak and dagger. Welcome, friends and lovers. It may not be a throne, but you're more than welcome to sit on our Jupiter's cock. I guess that's a prompt to go and check out Spartacus and also our episode on Spartacus. Or you can just think we're nasty and we just like saying that, which is also true, isn't it?
True that.
But let's round off our first impressions. I think even before we talk about House of the Dragon, I want to talk about you just don't have the right quality of television while I pull up my nerdy glasses. I want to talk about the last season of Game of Thrones because we haven't captured it on the main podcast. And I just to be a completist, I would like to close that chapter before we start talking about our first impressions of House of Dragon. Take it away, my love.
Wow. To say it was disappointing isn't even really doing it justice. I think, what the fuck was that?
Well, yeah, but I think even mid-season 7...
It had already deteriorated, but I don't know. I expected so much more in the last season, and it was just super, super disappointing. To the fact that, well, at the end of it, we couldn't even watch it anymore because it was too dark. So maybe that was the trick.
Well, they also had a lot of those scenes in House of the Dragon as well. But it seems like you don't want to do a post-mortem. You just want to lay it to rest. Is that right?
To the extent of, I didn't even think I wanted to watch House of the Dragon in the first place. Like, I was just...
I think I agree with you, but I think enough time had passed that we're like, okay, fine, we'll give it a try. Because you're right, if they had tried to do it straight after, like a Power universe, it definitely wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I'd be like, get in the bin, man.
I want to see some Game of Thrones, House of Dragons lore where we have Tommy just like stabbing everyone.
Wow. Well, we'll still be under the Targaryens in terms of power.
Wow.
You have dragons and people fighting with fucking swords.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. You know, I didn't have as much stock in the Game of Thrones franchise. You know, like I mentioned in our 9th episode, it was coming to the last season. So then I started to watch it so I could watch the last season with you. I think which is also what I did with Breaking Bad as well. Or maybe Breaking Bad was over. But essentially, you know, it was an enjoyable adventure. I don't think it necessarily deserves all the hype, but if we're being real, sometimes the hype is mainstream consumable stuff.
True.
It's not the most rich sort of story. I get it. Like, I get why it's very popular. And I'm not hating on it to a certain extent, but yeah, it is what it is. It didn't hurt my feelings. It hurt my intelligence for a lot of the time. But it didn't create any conflicting familial love.
Are you sure? Oh my God, this guy, eh?
It's a lot. Like,
it's a pattern at this point, man.
Yeah. Like familial lovin is to George R.R. Martin as the N-word is to Quentin Jerome Tarantino.
True.
Like just breathing, you're just gonna throw in that plot line. But anyway, so yeah, the Game of Thrones, it made people mad, and OT's just feeling like I think you were a bit deflated, but you know, we went into the House of the Dragon. I think from the first episode we were pretty much sold, weren't we?
Oh yeah, I think the first second we saw Corlys, I was like, bro, I'm in.
Well, you know, I don't want to detract too much from the actual show and discussion about the show, but it's hard to ignore, especially with shows that apparently you have to uphold the history about a fictional fucking show. How did you feel about the discourse? Were you interested enough to have a little peek? Did you know it was going to be bullshit so you didn't even try? What was your whole experience knowing that by having a black man, not just having a black man, but also having a black man that was rich, like if not the wealthiest, one of the wealthiest. How did you feel about the general sort of discourse around that?
I thought it was stupid because my go-to was, what the fuck are people getting angry at? It's fucking fantasy.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember who said this, but it was like, mate, they don't want to see black people in their fantasy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it just lit a bulb and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not even gonna let the outreach continue. I'm gonna enjoy Corlys's performance, even though we did say spoilers, right?
Yeah.
They're killing him off, but I enjoyed it.
Though?
He's fucking on his deathbed.
Deathbed.
I think we didn't even see him after 3 episodes, just disappeared.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think it's to the level of, and I keep coming back to Power, of like, unless you see them die on screen, they're not actually dead. So it's hard to know. But I just thought that was interesting about whether you get into the discourse. As the one that is on the podcast socials, you know, and we are a TV and film podcast, even without trying, I will see the discourse, right? But we're surrounded with people of qualities, so a lot of it is reactions to stupid shit as opposed to the people saying stupid shit on our timeline. But yeah, at some point, it just gets in the way because it's like people are going to say whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to say it whether Corlys was rich or not.
Yeah.
Let's get into the theme names that we have, I've named them by other TV shows, if you're nasty.
Wow.
Yeah, this one's called Succession, or Bore on the Floor. So essentially, I want to talk about ascending to the throne. Obviously, this will cover the whole season, particularly in regards to Rhaenyra. How did you feel it was tackled in this show, like compared to even Game of Thrones, for example?
What I enjoyed more about this was the dynamic between Rhaenyra and Viserys, because you'd think he's just another king who doesn't fucking care, but
he's
he cares.
Fucking loyal, man.
Man, he was so loyal to Rhaenyra. I was like, man.
He was a walking scab. But also, I think we should have done a biopsy on him for immortality, because every time they kept changing the ages in the show, I was expecting him to be dead, but he kept outliving motherfuckers.
Yeah. He started fucking holes in his ass, continued coming up his body. No.
Actually, that's also a reference to Serpent Queen. Our Tywin Lannister also had a scab on his ass, didn't he? If you're into that, I guess you can call that a spoiler, but go and watch Serpent Queen, friends and lovers. we're unconsciously creating a list of scabby asses in film and television.
Wow. Denzel must have gotten the scab in Training Day as well, so, we can add to the list.
I guess also add Martin Lawrence from Bad Boys to that list.
Yep.
Oh, Mike Lowry.
You must really love your friend, eh?
Would you believe, friends and lovers, we also have a Training Day and a Bad Boys episode as well. But you're absolutely right, because, with the cloak and dagger shit that happens in these sorts of shows, and also happens in Succession as well, you need to have a strong unit. And I don't know about you, but there were definitely moments where I thought Viserys, especially when he got his own son, right? I thought there were going to be moments where he was going to just cut ties.
Yeah, I thought so too, because Rhaenyra didn't make it easy for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At every stage.
Yeah, to the point where Viserys gets his own kids. He's still committed, I'm breaking tradition. Rhaenyra, you're going to be queen.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. When he got the kids, I was like, okay, surely now.
Yeah.
Nah. When the kids got older, nah. Even when she couldn't get pregnant with Leno, I thought, you know what? When she stepped out, I was like, surely now. Nah. And the dad was putting blinders on. He did not want to see it.
Excuse me. In what world? Because again, I know we're talking about how loyal Viserys is, but maybe he had scabs in his eyes, because the kids weren't black. The kids didn't have white hair. They did not resemble either of them. Come on. He knew. Okay, between you and I, he knew those weren't his full grandchildren, right?
He knew.
Okay. Okay. Because him standing up for his daughter is one thing. But I'm surely this man isn't that naive.
Yeah, he knew, but, God damn it, what he says is law.
Well, I guess speaking of, because you were talking about breaking tradition, I want to talk about Rhaenys for a second. What did you think about that whole situation? Because personally, I would be mad.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed. I'd be hanging around, man. I'll be like, mate, get off my throne.
The energy she had at the end of the first season, I would have had that right at the start.
Yeah.
Fucking bringing her dragon in? Are you kidding me?
But not doing anything with it.
Yeah, I know, but she still did more than what she did, because she did zero, she did nada at the start. So it seemed like a big gesture because she did nothing, right? Because she kept saying she was all goods. Even with Alicent, she's like, you just need to, make your place and all that sort of stuff. And it's bruh, you weren't living your life either. I don't know.
But she got this illusion though, right? Because she's because she told Corlys, you're the one fighting for that. I was already content just living my life because these people would never accept a female queen.
Again, I don't like the way you said female. But But there's two different circumstances. There's accepting that it's never going to change, so you just accept that even though you're not happy about it, or genuinely believing it. I don't think Rhaenys believed that.
Yeah.
I think she just played her position the best she could.
Maybe so. But she was happy to be with the kids, and just be rich with Valerian.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about the houses in a second, but just in regards to Succession, I was kind of hoping for a bit more of a fight, that's all. But what I also would say is, even though it's not in reality, I do appreciate that the real sort of implications for women at a time like that was applied. Because if we go back to a couple of episodes ago with the Woman King, apparently women could do everything. If women could do everything, then why'd it take so long to get right now? No, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they were applying a modern lens in The Woman King. So I do have to give plaudits to the show, even if, and I do believe Rhaenys wanted more, right? Even if she wanted more, she couldn't operate that way. There's no way she could have operated that way.
True that. I can understand that. And I think she was one of the... You knew that she'd play such a pivotal role.
Yeah.
Just because of how much she was in the sidelines.
Yeah.
Of course they took the throne from me and I feel like I'm deserved here. And she's like, yeah, I'm just sitting in the background. With JR, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
You're just going to get someone who's conniving and manipulative and they're just scheming away.
Yeah.
If not seducing.
Okay, rap shit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is just a plug for all our other episodes. Go and check out rap shit, friends and lovers. But I guess so we can move on to other themes. Just in regards to Succession, I want to go back to Rhaenyra for a second. She's kind of the mirror. She's kind of the mirror to Rhaenys. And even early on in the season, we did have scenes between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra, where Rhaenyra was very... I don't know. I'm kind of sick of the storyline of whether it's a child or whether it's a woman or a young woman, them being defiant and them being a bit of a pick-me, being like, I can change everything with my will and might and power of friendship. And it's like, actually, no, you can't, And there were even moments when Rhaenyra was like, I'm not getting married. And it's like, bruh, unfucking fortunately, women were carted as cattle back then. So it's like... it doesn't matter how strong-willed you are. Okay, let's also acknowledge, Viserys loved her so much. Otherwise, he would have forced her to get married.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of her sheer will that she didn't get married off to a Lannister, for example.
Yeah, it was just daddy's soft hands, man.
Soft hands, scab legs. Oh man, I really hope makeup and effects get nominated for awards, because when I saw Patty in real life, wow, sign my scabs up. But going back to Rhaenyra, everything that I was saying about Daenerys in our Game of Thrones episode has been absolutely vindicated by the fact that she comes from a long line of whiny bitches. And that's non-gendered. Well, you can disagree if you like.
No, I can't argue with that. You're completely right, because I think you watched Game of Thrones after it already aired and all the hula baloo had sort of died down.
No, I'm just more elevated than you. I picked up...
I bought into the Targaryen.
I picked up Daenerys, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, she's fucking entitled and it's disgusting. She made everyone... she made all of these slaves fight her war for her. And then as soon as it got too hard, she's like, laters. Nah, fuck off.
But she had a dragon. You can't. People who watched it go, sequentially while waiting for, for it to drop week by week or some shit. I don't know. She grew on a lot of people. And by the time she turned into...
Emilia Clarke grew on people. That's what it was. Her season 1, season 2 titties that we never saw again grew on people. Are we going to have an intellectual conversation or not, OT?
Clearly not.
Show it your tits. No, but you didn't like Rhea and The Last Dragon. Why? Because she had all of the privileges and was wondering why all of the working class people were protesting. And she got to eat rice every day and she didn't understand why the poor people were crying over eating grains of rice. See?
Idiot.
There you go. That's the kids' pop version of Daenerys Targaryen.
Man, I can't even argue with that because you called it out pretty soon in the show. So
Yeah.
kudos.
I did. And I also said Skylar is the martyr and she's not the bitch you're all making her out to be. So I'm waiting for you to have that realization.
Nah, that's where you're wrong, man.
Do the work, OT. But yeah, even another example of how entitled Rhaenyra was, I think it was like in the middle sort of arc. Rhaenyra and Alicent were talking, and it might have been around the time that she was arranged to be married to Viserys, or it might have been just before. But there was a very key pivotal scene between the two of them where, Alicent is talking about, I can't squander any opportunity I get, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think it was also around the time that Rhaenyra rejected the Lannister as if she can pick and choose when she gets married, because in this case she can, because Viserys is very supportive, and being judged, and I really appreciated that moment. Anytime we have characters and we have dialogue and we have muy caliente scenes calling to account the class and privilege of another character, I am all the way in.
I know.
I do feel like there were moments, if I sit and think, I do feel like there would be moments where I didn't necessarily care or agree with Alicent's sort of motives, but I always understood that she was working with the cards that she was dealt.
And to be fair, she sort of really toed the line of where she wanted to be still friends and close to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And she didn't really want to do anything that would hurt her. To the point where when Rhaenyra was off in the brothel and she was like, yeah, Alicent, nothing happened. I wasn't even there, man.
Yeah.
Alicent believed that shit because she thought, oh, my friend would never lie to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? She gave it such a go with trying to make that friendship work.
Yeah.
Or at least have some sort of mutual respect.
Yeah.
Which never happened. So I can't blame her for feeling like, you know what? My kid deserves this fucking throne, even though my kid is a dickhead. And that was one of the best scenes ever as well. When she was like calling out the son.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, how useless do you have to be?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. People jacking off back then, their mothers walking in and they don't even care.
Yeah. He's probably like, Mum, stay, I'm almost done. Paint me like one of your French mums.
Wow.
We also have a Titanic episode, Friends and Lovers, and we also have an Avatar episode. Shout outs to Colby that didn't know Laz Alonso was in Avatar. So what do you think about Aegon being crowned as king?
Useless, but you know what? You don't have to be fucking smart to sit on that throne, as it's been proved. Mm-hmm. Definitely he's not gonna last, because I think that's more Aemon's sort of chance, because he sees that seat. He sees it. He's like, that's meant to be me. It can't have some guy who doesn't even want to sit on it be there. But
you know what's very interesting about Aemon's character? Well, he's also grown on me, by the way, but he also grew himself, because compared to the two other kids, like, he's towering. Unless like evilness and resentment make you grow larger.
Don't step out, or otherwise your kids won't grow, bro.
But the thing with Aemon, the interesting thing about Aemon is you can see that there's a threshold, because you're right. If he wanted to, he seemed to know where Aegon was. He could have like murdered his brother in the night, right? And assumed the title. But there's a threshold there where he still respects the rules. I'm waiting for that threshold to break. So when he unleashes his full force, it's going to be very interesting to watch.
I think because he's just fucked up already and killed Rhaenyra's kid and dragon, there's no coming back from that. He's either just going to dive in and be now really, really bad, since he's in the deep end already. Just, lean in.
Yeah.
Because there's no way out now. No way out.
He's kind of become the new era Daemon. Where, because there were moments that I was like, oh, I like Daemon. He's a cute guy. And then he did really shitty things and I'm like, oh yeah, we're not supposed to like him. Like, I think he's going to be that for the next generation.
Yeah, but I still like Daemon, him doing shitty things is a sign of the times.
I guess. I guess so. But, Do you have any sort of predictions about the succession of the throne beyond this season?
I don't think Rhaenyra sits on that throne at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Aegon's dragon, I don't think anyone bypasses that at all.
How do you feel about the setup of dynamics now? So you don't think that Rhaenyra is going to get the throne, but it's going to, like, there's going to be a power shift, right? And actually, while we're here, do we genuinely believe that King Viserys whispered to Alicent?
Oh, I don't think so. Man held in his chest the whole time that Rhaenyra is the successor. No, he backs down on his dying breath.
He even came out of being bedridden to come.
He had not left his room in ages. But as soon as Rhaenyra was there and she was in trouble, man, he motivated himself to he was like crawling, skin falling and all.
It seemed a bit too convenient that no one else would lay witness to it, but apparently it happened.
Of course it did.
Man, it's really working to Otto's advantage though, isn't it?
We always have this ratty motherfuckers in the show, man.
Yep.
He is a survivor. He will cling on to power as much as he can. And now that Aegon is in charge, I'm pretty sure he feels like I can sidestep Alicent and just go directly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The next theme I want to go to is power. I really don't think there's anyone taking down the Targaryens in this show.
Well, clearly they calmed down because in Game of Thrones, they're not in power anymore.
Actually, you're right. It's the Lannisters, right?
Yeah. So
how does that happen?
We'll see. They found something to kill the dragons with. So that'll be exciting to see and how it all transpired.
Yeah, you're right. Look at you leveraging your nerdy knowledge.
House of Cards and all has to come crumbling down.
Not just full-blown power, but I also wanted to talk about the soft power like Otto Hightower. I feel like characters like him will always survive.
Yeah.
Even when he got casted out, he ended up coming back, being able to convince the whole table. Alicent was so emotional and so convinced that Viserys said it, and it didn't even matter whether he said it or not because they were already mobilizing and making... You know what I mean?
Like, it didn't matter. He'd already come up with contingencies. It would have been stupid. Like, he would have been outside his character if he did have a plan like that.
Yeah. He's one of those, like, you need to get rid of him if you actually want to get rid of him.
Yep. Otherwise, he just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Viserys is scabs.
We love a callback. Who has the strongest dragon, you reckon?
Aegon.
Yeah?
His dragon just matched up another dragon like he was having some hors d'oeuvres at a dinner party.
Oh, wow.
Nah. That's all I said. Like, how do you bypass that?
Interesting.
It's like 10 times the size of any other dragon.
True. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to the Mortal Kombat-esque.
Unless they do like a Captain Planet Kumbaya, you know? Wind, fire! Calling out the dragon's name and they combine it to a bigger version. No way. No way.
Let's talk about Daemon Slayer. I'm essentially talking about the uncle lovers of the world.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about just the fact that there's such a prevalence and there's such a prominence? Like, you're getting mad that there's black actors in here, but you're fine with uncle fuckers and niece fuckers?
Hey, man, that scene in that brothel, I was so uncomfortable. I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it's also because, like, they look the same as well.
Yeah, she looked like a fucking baby.
Yeah, not like Spartacus.
No, yeah, that was creepy, man. Yeah.
But I was confused because I'm like, is this consensual? Like, it's definitely incest, but is this consensual? That's more that was my first tier of concern.
Man, it can't be consensual because she was what? She was 15 at that time?
Yeah.
Bruh. Man, this guy writes some shit, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then we just skittle past it.
And then Rhaenyra goes back home and fucks Christian Cole, who gets fucking pussy whipped and gets angry because he can't technically be with Rhaenyra, or Rhaenyra doesn't want to run away with him. What the fuck did he expect?
No. This is all on Rhaenyra.
This is where we started with the simp. This is the first instance of a simp in history.
Turn your pages, friends and lovers. No, you're dead wrong on this, and you're pivoting it from the wrong perspective.
Man, such a simp apologizer.
Well, being with a simp, I can sympathize. No, but Rhaenyra was playing a good game. She's like, yeah, I'll run away with you. I'll go with you. Nah, man. And this is what's so frustrating. And it's also, I guess, if we're going back to Succession, like it's characters like Kendall and maybe even Shiv, but going back to Rhaenyra, where they benefit from the privilege and the wealth and the fortune that was gained through violent and disgusting, inhumane means, right? I.e. off the back of slaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they want to be so fucking critical about it. And it's like, if you are about it and you are critical about it, then run off with Christian Cole then. Go somewhere where your status doesn't fucking matter. Oh, it does matter. Thank you, Gwyneth Paltrow Targaryen.
But Christian Cole has to be smarter than that, man. He's older. He needs to understand what this means. Rhaenyra didn't even think she had a chance.
But she treated him like a plaything as well.
He's meant to be used to that shit.
Wow, okay. You're like the opposite of a pickup artist. Allow yourself to be picked up, my brothers. She picks up the bill tonight.
I don't know. He's servicing the throne. He needs to be aware of what's on the line and not act like a simp the minute Rhaenyra was like, yeah, I can't run away with you. It's exactly how Lucretia thought that Crixus was the love of her life. Mate, power dynamics and all. That shit doesn't count.
Yeah, I guess in that sense it was the other way around, where the privileged one did love the one with less privilege. But yeah, Rhaenyra she wasn't my tempo. I didn't agree with her in many aspects.
I did enjoy her pushing the boundaries though. Like, you know what? Shake it up. If you're not gonna do that, then who will? I didn't mind that.
Go off, sis.
Yeah.
Let's explore the houses a little bit more. Who else in the Targaryens do you want to tackle?
Maybe Jace Targaryen. You know, he seems quite competent, even though he looks small in stature. I hope by the time season 2 comes about, he's grown a bit.
Who are you calling a pipsqueak?
Exactly. And this time he is a pipsqueak. He seems competent though, you know? He seems like he can be a match for Aegon, which is good.
Whoa, you're saying a lot.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, I don't see it.
Maybe not combat-wise right now, but intellectually.
You might not be good looking, son, but you've got other talents. I think the last thing I would say in regards to the Targaryens is the mother. Well, I guess in general with the show, there was a lot of childbirth scenes.
Man, I don't understand.
I think there was even an episode where there were 2 childbirth scenes.
Yeah, I'm like, who is this for? What for? What now?
You know where to search if that's what you want.
Some painful childbirth scenes, man, at that. One being gutted in the name of C-section.
Yeah.
Back in the olden times, it looks...
We don't know if she's going to survive, and literally hack her to death.
We've taken like 20 pints out of blood, but you know...
She might make it.
Oh, my word, man. Jesus. It was too much. I feel like the first one, fine, maybe. All right, cool. Second, third, what are you doing here now? Come on.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. In regards to the Valerians, now that you talk about the Targaryens being taken down, I don't think we really see any, at least like main prominent sort of characters in Game of Thrones being from the Valerian family. The only thing I remember is like Valerian steel.
The finest steel.
So that's pretty sad.
Yeah, man. Black people were in Game of Thrones. Now you know why.
Wow.
Someone else took all the steel and made it for them.
Wow, it's starting to sound real now. Any other characters you want to talk about specifically?
We know Leno isn't dead. What role do you think he plays coming back?
We know as in you're saying we know?
Yeah, we know. We saw him running away with the boyfriend.
We got to have a comeback, surely. Because I kind of, again, I'm not a fan of Rhaenyra, but I didn't like how they agreed to have an agreement, but she shamed him at every turn.
Yeah.
What was it? We can have a buffet. We can indulge in our delights. And every time he did, she was like, really? Again?
You're indulging too much. There's a whole...
With her 4 brown-haired kids?
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. Come on.
But you know what? Leno put up the work. He was like, you know what? I love them as my kids. That's fine. Which was surprising.
That sounds like a Tyler Perry movie.
It does.
But all of that aside, like Laenor is a warrior and he's actually been out in battle. So he would stand to give a better position to a lot of the current generation that are there.
Yeah.
And he does have means to contend the throne because he is still alive. And I'm not sure how marriage works when you decide to fake your death, bold and beautiful style and then you come back.
I think it helps in... I think it helps in Rhaenys thinking, oh, okay, you're not dead. I'm not going to hate on Rhaenyra and Daemon anymore. Unless Leno tells Rhaenyra everything.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Those are 2 angles that could play out.
Speaking of angles, how did you feel about the wigs on the show? I'm specifically talking about the Valerian wigs. Thoughts?
Yeah, quite distracting. I don't know.
They were very see-through. Like you could see through the dreads.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It felt weird at first, but by the 4th episode, I was like, yeah, cool, whatever.
All right. If you like it, I love it. I guess before we finish off, are there any characters or families that we explored in Game of Thrones that you want to see more of here?
Oh, Stark will be cool.
Right.
Yeah, get some Starks in.
They're very salt of the earth, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, salt of the art stuff, man.
And Lady Catherine Stark, she's got a face of a hard matriarch.
Oh, man. In Gangs of London?
Gangs of London.
Yeah, gotta love her.
Yeah, you don't want to cross that woman.
Nope.
How about the Lannisters? Are you wanting to see more Lannister action?
Not really, just because I know they end up in the throne. So I'm not too eager for that to come.
Yeah.
I want to explore everything in between.
Nice. Okay, I can dig that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, friends and lovers, for joining us another week in the For Your Reference household. We're going to finish off in a segment we call For Your Reference. OT.
I'm going to reference Game of Thrones. Go and rewatch it up until season 5 and stop.
I'm going to stop you from not doing full references.
Whoa, I gave a full reference.
That's like saying you recommend it without the incest scenes. It's integral. It's woven into the fabric.
Yeah.
I will reference Raya and the Last Dragon.
Whoa. Okay. Take your shot, mate.
Yeah, I've got my grains of rice of privilege. If you would like to check OT's privilege on Twitter and Instagram, we're at For Your FPod.
Write us on the email at hello@fypodcast.com.
We're also on Targaryens Were Never Shit, Targaryens Ain't Shit, Targaryens Never Be Shit podcast if you'd like to leave a rating and review. And we'll see you guys next week.
Guys!
Bye.